This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, the entire state of confusion. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground. Along with me, my own personal Wikipedia, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, Danielle Alexandra. Danielle, how are you?
I'm doing well. Can you turn up my headphones? Better.
Okay. All right. So everybody's doing well there. You doing good, okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Also in studio is the Prime Minister of all things that are sinister. Greg Bowen, how you doing, sir?
Spectacular!
That was a little scary.
That was really scary, by the way. Oh my gosh, Greg. Are you possessed this morning, sir?
Like, he's a little too awake for this early.
Are you possessed, sir?
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll have to go with it then. It's Friday. What are you going to do? I'm a spammer. I'm not going to lie to you.
You're
Yes, you
totally a spammer.
Well, I only spam good stuff, though.
I know, but it's all the time. Like,
Feed from every one of those sources. And next thing you know, our Facebook news feed is just full of Alex announcing events and where he's going to be. And
like, I don't feel like I have a Facebook page anymore.
Yeah.
I love how he's not even going to try and deny it or anything.
Oh.
I'm not. I can't. It's, I want to make sure you knew about it, though.
Well, I knew before you put it online.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I just want to make sure, but I want everybody to know, though. We got to get people to these events.
It's insane. You're totally a spammer.
What event are you talking about?
In the villages.
Not really. I mean, look, I was part of the, there was a debate that we had for the Floridians for Solar Choice. I was pro the amendment, and I debated somebody that was against the amendment. I thought the debate went well. Nobody changed their minds that was walking in there. If they didn't like it, they didn't like it coming out. If they did like it, they did like it coming out. Nobody's minds were changed. Other than that, it was a good experience. It was what I expected. I walked into something that I expected what I walked into. But other than that, it is what it is. There's no sense in going down the road of it any more than what it is, because at the end of the day, the solar initiative will pass. Yeah. And that debate wasn't going to kill it, nor was it going to help it. But I will say that I think I held my own. I think I did very well. And it was an interesting experience. I'm going to maintain positivity, though. I was in a good mood that night, the entire night.
You were. You did really good.
I was not bad mood Alex. I was good mood Alex.
Yeah, the whole time.
And I was able to maintain it.
No matter what happened.
Despite getting my name wrong 7 times. Look, man, I don't get really mad when people don't get my name right. But, I do hold different people at different levels of being able to get my name right. And if you've known me since 2010... I would hope you could get my name right. However, some people can't. Okay, it happens, I guess. But
I've had people ask me recently who've known you for years how to pronounce your last name.
are you kidding me?
Like it's
Not
not
at
even
all.
that difficult.
At the Florida Freedom Festival, 2 people asked me how to pronounce your name, what the correct pronunciation of your name is.
Snitker.
Snitker, yes.
Yeah, Snitker. I mean, technically Snitker. I'll take Snickers, whatever. Look, at the end of the day, I don't really care. I mean, I do care, but I don't care. I don't understand how you get it wrong, though. Like, I don't understand how you look at it and go, Snitker? I mean, like, I don't understand how when you're focusing and concentrating on it that you get it wrong.
Right.
Well, like there was like extra H's and S's.
It's one thing to say snicker or something,
Right.
but it's something else to get it like way wrong.
No,
Just
this was
completely.
Way off.
This
Look,
was
I
way
can't
off.
even repeat to you the way it was repeated to me because I don't even know how to say it that way.
No, it was just way off. Now.
Button that.
Oh,
Play it for yourself.
I need to give
you
myself
go.
some
Give
applause.
yourself
Give
some
yourself
applause. I gotta say, look, let me just say it this way. I have very rarely, if ever, seen Greg go up and actually give a speech on something.
Like to a crowd at an event.
Don't think I've ever seen it. Not that I can remember. Maybe it's happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm that much of an arrogant
mean,
a-hole
no,
that
I think
he's done it all the time, and I'm just never. Even
I've seen him speak at meetings, like when we've held LP meetings and things like that.
Yeah, but that's not the same.
But no, this was different. This was an actual event where you were an actual speaker for a summit, which I don't think I've seen either.
I don't think you have.
And I think you did an amazing job, sir.
Thank
I think
you.
you did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
So another round of applause for Greg.
No,
Go ahead. Give yourself another round of applause.
I think the Freedom Festival did.
No, it was a nice place. It was a great joint. But it's and look, here's the thing. I think they did as well as they could do. It's just really hard to put those events on now.
It is.
I'm getting a message that says that anytime the camera goes to the mic shuts off.
Okay. I think I got it. Talk now. I think I got it fixed.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Does that work? Say something, Daniel.
Well, I am saying something, but I don't
Okay.
know if it's working until I get
Well,
a
no,
message
I'm saying
back.
when
Yeah, it looks like it's working
Okay.
now. I had to rebuild everything.
And I wasn't here last week for you to be able to test that all out last week.
Yeah.
So no, I think it was a great event. I think it's definitely going to be better in the fall or in the spring next year because it was oppressively hot. I felt like I was cooking from the inside out. So, but I mean, the event itself was really, really well put together, and there was a lot of stuff to do for the kids. The kids had a lot of fun. There was a little water area and stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think Greg did a phenomenal job. I think Adrian did a really good job in his speech. Because when you hear the same people over and over again, you get very, like, oh, they're speaking again.
Right.
But I thought Adrian did really well. Like, if you even if you had heard him a lot of times before, you would have really enjoyed this one. So I think you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that you're right about that with Adrian though. That Adrian did very well. I think that,
And it was different from something he normally does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's actually a conversation that we've all heard, but it was like in a personal setting. This is something that he's talked about
Yeah.
before with us when we're around, but I don't think he's ever stood up and done this as a public speaking thing, which was really cool.
yeah. No, that's true. That's absolutely true.
So I thought all in all, I thought they had really good music. I thought the Know Your Rights Summit was really well put on the other stage, and I think you and Adrian did great. So it was a fun weekend.
Worked out well. Glad he's doing good. Everybody doing well. It was a good time. Everybody had fun.
It was great. It was like my second favorite topic behind the drug war.
It was Greg's second favorite topic. He likes talking about
Which
Fiji.
the thing is with Adam Kokesh
He wants
being
people to be fully informed.
with Adam Kokesh being the main speaker, he covered the drug war over and over and over.
Exactly.
Kokesh will talk to you about some weed.
Yeah.
He'll talk
Please
to you about a
stop.
little bit of weed.
Seriously. I'm trying to ignore it like you're not doing it so that I'm not constantly just complaining about the voices. But like you take it too far. Just stop.
What? I mean, come on. It sounds good though.
No one thinks it sounds good. You know
Right.
why people
Does it
tell
sound
you?
good?
You know why people tell you
I'm
to
not
keep
getting in the
doing
middle of
it?
this.
Is because they think my reaction is funny to it.
Exactly.
What are you
People
talking-
like you getting under her skin.
What are you
so.
talking about?
Yeah. So
What
like I
are
tried
you
to
talking
ignore
about?
it for a while. Like I'm just gonna pretend he's not doing it.
And then he just does it more.
Well, I like the voice. I think it's a good voice. I'm like,
Nobody
it's a
else
good
likes
time.
the voice. The voice is horrible.
You know what? I disagree. Hey, call 1-800-525-4032 if you like the voice. And if you don't like the voice, then call 1-800-555-5555. All right. So let's go. Let's get into the news here because it's been a very busy week. The first thing is what happened in South Carolina. We got to get to this one first. There was a disturbed, horrible, evil gentleman by the name of Dylan Roof who went into a church and sat there with them during Bible study for like an hour.
For an hour.
And then decided to get up and attempt to kill everybody in the room and just went off. Now, here's the thing. Race comes into play here because this kid was a black church. An old black church, like one that's like a historic black church.
Yeah, this is like probably the most important, most famous black church in the country.
Yeah. There was actually a sitting South Carolina senator there,
A state senator.
from South Carolina, and this kid was a racist. There's no getting around it. This kid was totally racist. Sat in that church for an hour and then opened fire. Reloaded several times. I think 5 times what they're saying that he reloaded. And he basically wanted to start a civil war and then kill himself. And this is the part that kind of pisses me off a little bit here. Why didn't you just kill yourself? You had all those weapons. You had all those guns. Just kill yourself right there.
And he didn't.
He
didn't at all, which, they...
shows me what a hypocrite the guy is anyway, though. I mean, not to be he's just evil. He's also a hypocrite. Kill yourself.
Well, he's a coward.
A coward's probably a really good word for it. Now, kid was on a lot of drugs and medications and stuff like that. But you know what, man? There's no getting around this one. This kid's just straight evil.
He was.
And I hope the justice system does everything to him that they need to do to him. When you start just mass murdering people, you know what? They ought to stick a needle in your arm and kill you. This is where the death penalty, I think there's, and again, Greg will disagree with me here. I think that with this one right here, this is where the death penalty is just no question. Like, there's no getting around this kid they should put a needle in him. Actually, they should stick him in Gen Pop. Just stick them in general population and let the inmates do what the inmates are going to do.
Put him in with all the black dudes.
Yeah.
Make sure he's in a cell with like 2 rival black gangs.
Yeah.
Unify them for 5 minutes.
Hold on. And then give all the guards like an hour off.
Yeah.
And let the inmates know, hey, look, for the next hour, we don't know what's going on. We're not here. We're going to get a lunch break, man. We're going to get Kit Kat bar and we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a horrible tragedy. You know, the state senator was killed, and a lot of 9 people died in this, and this is someone who was mentally ill, obviously, but was on a large amount of medications, and I think that we have to look at those things. That we have a lot of these mass shootings with people who are heavily medicated. And we have to, understand what these drugs are doing to people and to their mindset. But don't get me wrong. I mean, this is someone who was a racist even not on drugs. I mean, he was a hate-filled person before he ever took a drug.
Yeah, punk little coward.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to jump in on blaming the drugs. A lot of times the people who are taking these kinds of medications, they have problems anyway. Mm-hmm. You can't say for sure that the drugs did it because they were unstable without the drugs. So whether or not the drugs made them worse, made them better, it's difficult to say. I think there's definitely a case to be made that sometimes these drugs make people worse. But quite often they are helpful for people as well. But this guy definitely had problems anyway. He was unstable on many levels. He was a racist. It's difficult to say whether or not this would have happened regardless of the drugs. It's possible that it would have. And I think it's interesting that the conversation on race has been brought back to Charleston. Because remember, this is where the white cop shot the black man in the back as he's fleeing just a couple of months ago, and now it's all coming back around again. And I don't know if there's any kind of solutions that can be offered for what's going on here, but it's showing that there's definitely more to the race conversation than a lot of people want to give it credit.
Well, and and we talk a lot about like the Civil Rights Act and things like that, and what the government should be involved in and what they shouldn't. And we have all these laws. We have non-discrimination laws. We have all of these things, but in certain areas it doesn't stop this stuff from happening. And we have to take a look at what we can do as not through the government, but as a society to start helping these kind of issues, because the laws themselves are not working. And they're never going to, because you don't stop someone from feeling the way they feel because of a law.
Right. Well, I think one of the things that libertarians understand is that laws don't prevent anything. Right. Laws keep honest people honest and give us a guideline for punishing the dishonest, the people who, whether that law's there or not, people are going to do these things if they're morally bankrupt. Whether or not there was any kind of law protecting anyone of any race, this kid could have potentially still done this. Right. So the laws don't really change the mentality of people.
Yeah. There's no answers to these things. Honestly, there's just not. There's no law you could make that's going to change anything. It's just not. Look, there's just some people in this world that are evil.
Right.
You know what, though? Here's the thing, though. At least the police should have, like, some of the... See, here's where I think that the police don't do their jobs. The signs were there.
Yes.
They were just there. And if we had, NSA is worried about taking everybody's damn phone records... Look, why don't you worry about the people that you need to be worrying about? You want to worry about everybody or think that there's some big magic pill, like there's some, fine terrorist quick scheme or something like that. Like, do the police jobs. Do your job. But again, I don't care if the police are doing their job. More than likely, this still happens. And Obama can make every gun law in the world that he wants to make. And at the end of the day, this still happens. Hey, look, if you're a predominantly black church, you know what? Have a guard that's armed.
Yeah.
Carry guns yourselves.
Even with gun laws, what would have stopped him from getting a can of gasoline and lighting the church on fire while everybody's in there?
Yeah, and not to mention, look, you'd have to literally make a law to make the parents not be able to get a gun in order to stop this, because the parents bought him the gun.
Right, and for what I've heard, did not let him have access to it for a very long time. Bought him the weapon, took him, went out to teach him how to use it, and they, went shooting and things like that. But then they kept it and kept it locked up for a long time. I guess just knowing that he wasn't stable or, wasn't old enough and responsible enough, and had just recently let him even be in possession of the weapon.
Yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, this kid is just a bad kid. And, really, he's mentally disturbed. You know what? Isn't anybody that would go on a killing spree mentally freaking disturbed?
Yeah.
I think they all are in some way, shape, manner, or form.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's diagnosed or not. People who are going to go on a killing spree have mental problems.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I mean, I almost want to, especially in cases like this was someone who's very young. And this hatred that he had came from somewhere.
Yes.
And you have to look back at where that came from. And, we need to start being able to hold these other people responsible. Listen, if he grew up, if he ended up with a group that was teaching him that, to hate other people, I mean, there has to be some way, either as a community or what, that we can hold these people accountable for creating monsters like this. Because these people aren't just, no one at 21 just goes, oh, I, finally see a black person and have decided to hate them. This is a learned thing that someone has instilled in this person.
I think that what you're talking about is a very slippery slope, though. I think that what you're talking about is a huge slippery slope. And that means that you're almost trying to ban people from free speech. Because, again, this kid is just evil and crazy. Don't get me wrong. There's people that go out there and that spew hate that are racist. But I don't ever want to see anybody be able to get arrested for just being a racist.
No, and I didn't...
And, again, that's not because I support them. It's because where does it stop?
But I said as a community. I did not say as a government agency.
Okay, no. Fair distinction. And I think maybe in one aspect, I'd have to agree with you in the fact that, I'm just really sick of racists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just personally sick of them now. I'm so sick of it. Here's the thing. You want to be a bigot, racist, whatever, keep that crap to yourself. I hear you spewing it. I don't want anything to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sick of it. But that's just me. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, and I think that's what I was talking about, is that as a community, we need to start saying, this isn't okay. And while, yes, I defend your right to be able to say what you want to say, it doesn't mean I have to accept you as a person. It doesn't mean I have to do business with you. It doesn't mean that you get to be normal in society and that society shouldn't make sure that you're punished, not in a physical way or something like that, but that you don't be successful because you harbor this hate.
You have a right to be an ass, and I have an obligation to make sure everyone knows you're an ass.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it. But back to this tragedy, though. I mean, thoughts and prayers go out to these people and what they're having to go through in this community. I feel bad for you. I hope that the trial is quick and swift, and maybe he hangs himself in jail or some crap like that. That'd be nice.
Well, I mean, he had plenty of guns. He could have offed himself, and he was too much of a coward to do that.
Yeah, you don't think he's gonna? He's probably not gonna do it the other way. But there's no solution. There's nothing anybody can say that's gonna make anybody feel better about this, because there's no way to do it.
And it would be nice to be able to say, well, it looks like this is going away, but it doesn't.
No.
I mean, this has been going on as long as humans have been around, and it doesn't seem to be lessening at all. It just kind of transfers to something else.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that statement at all.
Well,
as a whole, here's the thing. As a whole, racism is going away.
Not really.
As a whole, if you
I think it redirects, because the amount of hatred and who it was directed at, whereas it used to be black people, now it's Muslims.
And I will agree with that, because it does it has kind of shifted. And I think there's just people who always find a group to hate.
Yeah.
I think it's shifted with the same people, though. The new people that are coming up, I think that are, the new generations, I think, are much more racially tolerant than other generations have been in the past. I think that eventually it's going away, but it takes time. I mean, it's not a quick thing, but I think it's getting better.
No, I do think that on a whole, racism is going, and I see that because new generations of people are highly, very accepting of others, and even Muslims and that. But I do think,
but you'll still find your racism.
You're looking, of course, because this kid was 21 years old, so I mean, obviously you'll see that, but it's just a lot less. But I do think that the people who you may have seen, I think it is the same people that are racist. You're just hearing them from decade to decade to decade, just hating a different group. So the same person, the same generation that you would have heard hating black people in the 60s or in the 70s and on are now just hating Muslims. Like, they've just redirected their hate.
Exactly, and that's my point. Whether they're out there, talking against Muslims, whether they're talking against Mexicans, the immigration issue, the terrorist issue, right. All of this is really just about people having an excuse to demean someone for the color of their skin or because they're not from around here.
Yeah. Well. Now, conversely, to give a little bit of the devil's argument on this one, when you're making YouTube videos chopping off people's heads, and you're praying to Allah,
those aren't people here, though.
But no, you're right. They're not people here. But I'm saying maybe you shouldn't make those videos. Maybe you shouldn't be chopping people's heads off.
I am not in any way trying to defend Muslim extremists in this.
They need to talk to Jehovah's Witnesses.
But
that's what they need to do. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
There's a difference between saying that someone over 6,000 miles away on the other side of the world,
hell of a car ride,
is doing something that I'm now going to punish my neighbor for.
No. Again, that's true. And let me say this too. If you look at the percentage of people that are racist in like 55 and up, and the people that are percentage that are racist in like 30 and below, then I think that the percentage of percentage of that population, it's a lot lower in the 31 than it is in the 51.
It may be, but I'm not 100% sure because it's just certainly not nearly as overt as it once was. Whereas people used to freely admit their prejudices, they don't do it anymore because of the social stigma on it. That doesn't mean they don't have them; they're just not going to own up to them. And I've witnessed this far too often myself with people who, when there's a diverse group of people, they're going to play it like, yeah, I'm accepting. I'm not a racist, but you get them behind closed doors with just a bunch of white people, and the real them comes out, and they start saying things that they would not say out there in public.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good point, Greg. That's why you're the Prime Minister of the Sinister.
No, I just think that even, I just think that as I see the next generation coming forward, and even our generation, I think we're much more accepting than our parents or our grandparents were. So I do think that, I do think things like this are going away. Is it ever? I mean, like, you're never going to get rid of hate. I mean, like, that's just not going to happen. It's always going to be there. But I think as a country as a whole, we've come a long way in, the last 50 years. And I think that we're going to keep progressing in that direction. And I don't think it's because of any kind of laws or anything like that. I think that it's just because people in general, you have to get to where you're, you have to talk to people, and the country in and of itself is just more diverse, and so having to deal with these people make you just you either have to accept them or you're not going to survive. I mean, not that you're not going to survive, but you're just not going to be able to do as much. So I think that things like that and just the country being more diverse is going to make things like that go away, but you're never going to get rid of it completely.
Interesting story. I know you want to go to break, Alex, but something that I've always disagreed with is the idea that racism is taught. And that people aren't born racist, that somebody teaches them to be racist. And it always sounded counterintuitive to me, and it didn't make sense, because understanding the way the brain works and the way that it makes immediate judgment calls based on what it's picking up with its senses. And when there's anything different from what it's used to, it immediately creates a response of apprehension within you. And I witnessed this myself with my son when we took him to the zoo for his birthday. I am in no way a racist. I don't teach that at all. I don't even act that out, not even behind closed doors. And we're at the zoo, and a black family was next to us, and there was a little boy about the same age as my son right next to my son. And my son said hi to him, and he said hi back to my son. And my son walked around and he hid behind me. And I'm like, what's going on, Rachel? He goes, I can't play with that boy. And I said, what do you mean you can't play with that boy? He goes, because his skin is darker than mine. I can't play with him. He's different. And I said, and that's when I stopped. I stopped and I got down on his level and I started talking to him. I'm like, just because his skin color is different doesn't mean you can't play with him. And I had to get into this conversation with him. And it was about 15 minutes that I'm sitting there at the zoo trying to teach my son not to be a racist. and it really cemented in me that, the brain is going to have reactions based on what it's used to, regardless. And when you grow up and you've never seen a black person, your brain is automatically going to see somebody different, and it's going to make a judgment call based on that. And it's typically going to be a negative. And that's what was going on in his mind, because he's in a white family, and he rarely does he see black people. So his first reaction was, well, I can't play with him because he's different. And I had to teach him otherwise.
And I get what you're saying. And I think that human beings just naturally are apprehensive of anything that's new. But once they face that new thing, then the apprehension will go away. But that's very different than taking the initial apprehension of, wait, this is different. I don't quite know what to do here. And then having a parent go, you should hate that person. They're going to harm you. And that's what creates a racist person down the line. The apprehension of, this is a different situation that I've never been in and I'm cautious, is way different than racism.
Well, you're right. But I think my greater point here is that without some sort of guidance, we're going to kind of naturally fall into a place where we're scared of anything different, and we're going to kind of push it out and have apprehension, or possibly even go into a position of demeaning people who are different. Right. So like without me there to guide him and say, no, it's okay that these people are different, it's possible that he could have went another direction. So it's possible, like the shooter, it's possible that his parents taught him to be a racist, right, or it's possible that they just never took control of this situation and taught him anything and left him on his own to figure it out. And this is kind of where he came to.
I mean, and I definitely think that, I grew up with my grandparents who were in a much older generation who did harbor these kind of not only apprehension, but, we don't go around those people. I mean, they just grew up that way. And it's nothing bad on them. They just didn't know. They never we as kids were told the same thing. You can't go around those people. But we just kind of went, okay, and just never had those feelings towards anyone. And even though my grandparents would have wanted to teach us that, we don't, we only, deal with this certain segment of the population, we just didn't, it's like, okay, whatever, and we didn't listen. And my kids grew up completely in a racial diverse situation all the time because of our church. We went on Sundays, there was people from every different race there, to the point where my kids didn't see anyone as a different color. They just thought that, people went out in the sun and got more tan than the rest. My daughter at like 3 years old went to our pastor who's black and said, what tan lotion do you use? Because mommy tries all sorts of ones and she doesn't get as tan as you, because she didn't even see him as different. She was just like, man, all these white people keep trying to look like you. They should just ask you.
Right.
The one thing I did want to point out here is the word that you said, Greg, which was the most important word out of all the words that you said, was guidance.
Yes.
It's not a bad thing for a kid to be apprehensive walking into a situation that he's not familiar with. He doesn't know. And if you don't know, your default is to, hey, what's going on here? Let me back up a little bit here. So it wasn't that he was racist. It was that he saw something that wasn't of the norm in his situation and made a judgment on it. Said, and he did make a judgment. But the judgment wasn't based out of hate at all. It was based out of,
ignorance.
This is
self-preservation.
New. Yeah.
He's looking at a situation he doesn't understand.
Right, and that's really what the call that the brain is making. It's a a fight or flight decision. It's a survival decision that the brain is making.
Now, and this is a bad analogy, by the way. So let me just say right off the bat that what I'm about to give you is a bad analogy. It's like a kid touching this hot stove. Like you touch it, it burns you. Now you know you ain't touching that anymore.
Right.
Again, I'm not equating black people to hot stoves. But
that was such a horrible analogy.
Well, to some degree,
But
there is some validity in that, because you get that situation where the only experience somebody has with somebody of another race is a bad experience, and then all of a sudden they become a racist.
Right.
If a white kid, if the only time a white kid ever saw a black kid was when his bike got stolen, he's going to hate black people, and he's going to be the kind that grows up and says, black people are going to steal your bike.
Black people are thieves.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that that's true, because white people steal and white people will steal your bike too.
Yeah, everybody steals. I mean, everybody steals a bike. It's not a black or a white thing. Matter of fact, the neighborhoods when I grew up, a lot of them, well, only because there's a lot more white kids than black kids, but by a lot. We always had like one kid in school that was black or two people that were black when I was growing up. Like there really was only one or two in the school that I went to.
I remember the first black person that moved into my neighborhood, and all the parents were like, "Oh my god," it was like.
I think they're black.
I think they're black. It was, but we were kind of like, so? As kids, we grew up in a very white school. We had one black person who was adopted into a white family. And she was one of my closest friends. We ended up being roommates later on. But, you just didn't see it. But I think we just, in my house, my parents were very, you need to accept everybody and don't judge anyone based on the actions of anyone else. So me and my sister always went into every situation of, I'm going to give you a chance until you do something wrong, and then I'm going to hate you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to hate you individually, not as a group.
On that note, let's take a break here real quick.
All right.
We'll take a break here. We get back. We'll do the presidential announcements. There have been some presidential announcements this week. Stop the presses. Adrian Wiley, stop the presses. Libertarian Snicker says, blacks will burn your hand. Exactly. All right, we're taking a break. We'll be back. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Join with libertarians from across the Sunshine State as we gather for the 2015 Libertarian Party of Florida State Convention, scheduled for June 5th through the 7th. The LPF State Convention will take place at the Quality Inn & Suites Conference Center in historic Newport Richey, Florida. Gary Johnson is the keynote speaker for the convention. Other speakers in attendance include Ben Swan, Adam Kokesh, Tony Stiles, and more. For more information, visit the website at lpf2015.com. Once again, the website address is lpf2015.com.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit TackleMyTicket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at TackleMyTicket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
All right, we're back. Liberty Underground, 1787 Radio Network. If you website 1787network.com, 1787network.com. If you would like to call the program, the Refresh Telecom lines is 1-800-525-4032, 1-800-525-4032. Also, Dave Levitt is running for State House. DaveForHouse.com, DaveForHouse.com. Every time I mention Refresh Telecom, I'm just going to plug Dave.
Might as well.
I think if I asked him, he'd rather me do that anyway.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, you have had a moratorium on presidential announcements.
Yeah, but I have to make an exception now.
Okay, because there was two big announcements this week, and we have to cover those.
The comic relief in these, you can't ignore it.
I'm gonna say, welcome the jester, and it's over. Just for the record, it's the presidential. And I'm gonna do something live on the air right now. Me and I think that Adrian, if he called in, would make this same bet. Actually, I think Danielle will make this bet. I don't know if Greg will make the bet or not, but I'm sure Greg will. But let's get into the first things first, which is Donald Trump has announced officially that he is running for president. I'll stop while you laugh. Here's the thing. Look, Donald Trump is nowhere near material to be president of the United States. Look, is he a successful businessman? Yes. Has he made billions of dollars? Yes. And he's gone bankrupt 5 times, which is the one factor that I would say that gives him a little bit of qualifications to be president, because we need somebody that understands bankruptcy so they can actually put this country into bankruptcy so we can start over and liquidate the debt.
Yeah, he totally knows how to be insolvent.
Yeah, so I mean, being president now might not be a bad idea.
I can continue to spend money without having any.
Because all of Trump's ideas are just the dumbest ideas, and he's just look. And I'm putting this article together that's basically going to give threat levels to all of the presidential candidates, and he's in the high ones. And I know people are like, no, come on, Trump's good, man. We need an outsider. Trump's not an outsider. He gave $100,000 to the Clinton Foundation. He's given millions of dollars in campaign contributions. He said it on the stage. If you were listening, he said it on the stage. He's got lobbyists that can get anything done. He said it. And again, this is what this guy is not who you need to be supporting for president. There's a lot of people that we know though that are going to support Donald Trump for president though, and he's going to use his own money. So he does have enough money that he will be able to stay in this race as long as he wants to.
I mean, listen, the guy's worth $9 billion. He's going to be able to stay in for a while. And I have predicted that he's going to be a Tea Party favorite.
Yep, he will. No, he's going to.
He'll be a Tea Party favorite. My only hope is that he does. Every time that he jumps into the race for the GOP, my hope is that he will do for the GOP what he did for the Reform Party when he ran for them. And because he absolutely decimated the Reform Party. It doesn't even exist anymore because of him. And hopefully the same thing will happen to the GOP.
Yeah, yep.
Every time he announces that he's running for the GOP, I hope the same thing happens.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be a Tea Party favorite. I think it's a total joke that he's even in, and he'll stay in for as long as it helps him promote his businesses, and then he's going to jump out again because that's what he does. Well, I haven't been on TV in a while. Let me run for president.
Yeah, this is just a different marketing campaign for the next season of The Apprentice.
Yeah, I'm. And he's not going to win. He's not going to get anywhere with it. He's going to be there enough to annoy people and to hurt the GOP because he'll do that. And again, he gave $100,000 to the Clintons. Why would you support a guy that did that? I mean, I don't understand how anybody would support the guy. If you look into his background and what he's done when it comes to political things, not the business stuff, when it comes to the politics stuff, if you go to see what he's done, I don't know how you can support him. And if you're a limited government like constitutionalist, I have no idea how you can support that. None. Not even close. However, there are going to be people that like him. That's fine. Whatever. He's going to be a joke. And it's funny. I remember watching The Daily Show the night of. And you got to give it to Jon Stewart. Just the funniest stuff in the world because he just was so happy and excited. They were fake orgasming on the show. I don't even know if it was fake or not. Some of them might have actually have been orgasming because they were so happy that you're going to have that much material.
Yeah. I mean, this is. I really think that Donald Trump threw his hat in the ring to keep Jon Stewart from quitting at The Daily Show.
It's possible.
It's like, how can I quit now? Like,
I've got too much material.
The height of comedy right here.
I've been stacked with material up until November of next year.
Now, Hillary Clinton did like a relaunch, which sucked.
Which was just as bad as her first launch.
Oh yeah, dude, she's such a horrible candidate too. By the way, like I don't even understand how Democrats I don't understand you Democrats. I don't understand how you could like him, or her, whatever.
You were right the first time.
Freudian slip.
However, the other announcement is that Jeb Bush. George Bush.
You're forgetting which Bush it is.
Emperor Bush III.
Yeah, Jeb Bush is running for president. And after watching Jimmy Fallon when he was on there, I have now decided, and actually me and Adrian talked about it, when I watched that clip, I heard saxophones. That's all I heard was saxophones. Because it looked exactly like what they did for Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton ended up winning the election. And I think that the biggest feature there was, and the Politico came out with an article saying that he looked awkward. I don't believe that. I don't buy
think
that.
he looked awkward
I don't
at
even
all.
understand how they could see that. And the dude spoke in Spanish, and it was fluent. You know what I mean? Fluent. And in this election, I really do think that the biggest surprise in this next election is going to be the percentage of the Hispanic vote that goes for Bush. I think that Bush will beat Jeb Bush will beat the other Bushes in the Hispanic vote. He'll get a higher percentage than what George W. got.
I mean, I don't think they did well in the Hispanic community. I think Jeb is going to do phenomenal.
No, I think no. George W. Bush in the 2000 election cycle did fairly well. I mean, all things considered, but he did better.
In the 2000 election cycle, everybody was, looking to support George W. Bush. He was saying all the right things. He was doing his first term campaign, the same thing Obama did his first term campaign, saying all the right things to get everybody on board with the campaign. Got in office, they were doing exactly the opposite of what they were saying on the campaign trail, but they were saying all the right things.
Yeah. So let me lay out my bet for anybody if they want to take the bet. You can have the entire rest of the field. I'll bet that George Bush wins.
Jeb.
You can say Jeb Bush wins. You can bet you can have everybody else. And I'll take a bet on that.
Oh, I think Jeb's going to win.
I'll give you 2-1 on your money.
Yeah.
What's the spread?
I think Jeb is going to win the nomination. I don't even think it's going to be a question. He's going to have so much money. He already has amassed such a political war chest. He's going to really have a lot of money. No one's going to be able to compete money-wise, and he's a likable guy. I mean, listen, if you're very politically active, you know Jeb Bush, and he's not as likable. But when it comes to the rest of the population, which do show up for a presidential election, he's a really likable guy. And when they go on his record of what he did in Florida, it's not going to sound so bad.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. He's not the worst governor that we've had. He's not the person that we're going to speak ill about on a regular
As the governor,
basis
yeah.
because of what he did. Not that he did a lot of things that we really liked or that he didn't do things that we didn't like, but you compare him to Rick Scott or Charlie Crist, and there's a lot more material for people like us there.
Even when you compare him to Lawton Childs and some of the others, he honestly did it, and he was thrown a lot of curveballs. We had in 2004, we had I think something like 6 hurricanes came through. 4 of them landed, direct hits into devastated parts of Florida, back to back, and we saw things being rebuilt right away. We saw, anyone who was displaced had somewhere to go immediately. There was no wait for FEMA and let's hope that something happens. He told the federal government, keep it. We're Florida. We can take care of ourselves. So, I think when you see, you're going to see stories of like this, when there was extreme pressure, he not only didn't look for someone else to fix it, he came in and Florida took care of Florida. And I think it's going to bode well for him.
Yeah, this dude's going to win, man.
I don't think there's any doubt at this point that Jeb is going to be the nominee. I think
Yeah,
the real
I know.
debate at this point is who's going to be VP.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that now. That's going to be...
I don't know if he's going to pick Rubio. And of course, it was always thought that he would pick Rubio. And that when Rubio announced, it was basically announcing for, his vice presidential election. But I don't know I don't even know if Rubio would be a good pick for him. Rubio has been kind of demonized in a lot of ways, and there's some things that he's very ultra right wing on, and Jeb is very moderate, and I don't think that he's going to choose someone that's going to be so far to the right when he really is a very moderate Republican.
I think Rubio has a better shot of being Secretary of State. Honestly.
I do. I think so too.
Yeah, well, maybe. We'll see. Again, we'll see. I just know that it's Jeb.
Yeah.
And again, it's just going to be Jeb. And I don't like that. Look, I'm not saying it because I'm rooting for it. Not really. I'm in a weird way, I'm kind of rooting for it. And let me explain what I mean by that. Because I want the Libertarian candidate to get as many votes as humanly possible. So a Bush-Clinton election for president
Really helps
will
Libertarians.
ensure that Libertarians get a whole lot more votes. Yeah. So in that aspect, I'm kind of rooting for it, I guess.
Yeah, and it helps us, continue to make our point that we do live in an oligarchy, not in a constitutional republic or democracy or any of that. We have a completely different aristocracy, but it is an aristocracy nonetheless in this country. And when you have the Clintons and the Bushes dominating the political sphere in this country for so long, it removes any doubt. You kind of have to be actively ignoring the situation and covering your eyes and covering your ears to actually believe otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I saw him do that Jimmy Fallon thing, and I'm like, yeah, he just won it. I mean, he is going to speak to the average person, and he's going to win the nomination.
Yep, that was Bill Clinton playing sax on MTV.
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Absolutely.
it was. Boy, was it ever though. So I mean, man, it's over. Might as well focus local, man. Might as well just focus your efforts local, because national politics, it's a boat race at this point. Like, he pulled out front, they ain't gonna be able to catch him. And the thing is that all the other stuff that's going on in that race are only helping him, not hurting him.
Right.
The more people getting in the race,
It only helps Jeb Bush.
only helps Jeb Bush. More people in the race only helps Jeb Bush. Donald Trump only helps Jeb Bush.
Yeah.
Doesn't help anybody else. Doesn't help himself, because there's not going to be anywhere near a big enough of the population, even in the Republican side, to overcome what the establishment of Republicans are going to do. Because at the end of the day, he's going to win Florida. Jeb will win.
yeah.
I don't care what.
He's very
look,
loved.
and they have polls right now that's like, well, Rubio's going to do better than Bush will do. You know what, man?
No,
He's
gonna
we
win
are
it.
9 months away from the Florida primary. 9 months. Anything can happen in 9 months. So these numbers don't mean shit. They don't mean a damn thing. They know they don't mean a damn thing. but they want to keep you engaged in it. If anything, I'm telling you this for one reason and one reason alone. Stop focusing on the presidency. Find somebody local to help out. The revolution doesn't happen top down. It happens bottom up. So you got to get people elected into local offices in order to actually do anything. And, just be resigned that Jeb Bush is going to win this thing.
Well,
and look, Rand Paul people be all upset. Bah, 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 bah. Dude ain't even serious about running himself. I don't even want to hear about it.
Well, and here's the thing, and you're going to get a lot of people go, I don't support Common Core, so I hate Jeb Bush. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you, in all essence, like, you don't have enough of the population that even understands the connection between Jeb and Common Core, and you don't have enough time to educate them all on it. And he's going to be very charismatic about, like, no, I just want, the best for our children. And the average person who, like I said, does come out in a presidential year, they could care less about Common Core. They like Jeb. Floridians like Jeb. They like him in mass. There are segments of the population that doesn't. But at the end of the day, he's going to completely carry South Florida because he's very well established there and does a ton for the community, where Rubio is just from there and does nothing for the community, very small amounts. And he's going to win in the population centers, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, well, and look, and I'm going to say this too, and I know that people are going to take this one definitely the wrong way. So let me just say that right off the bat. Some people might stop listening to the show because I'm about to say this. And again, this is why I'm doing the presidential ranking for the threat level. There's 5 threat levels for your presidential ranking, right?
I really wish you wouldn't spell this all out on air.
I'm just saying.
I think it's going to be nice when we put it out.
Look, all I'm saying is I'm going to give. You're right. But let me give a sneak peek now.
Don't steal your own thunder.
I wouldn't put Jeb in the top 2 categories. The dude doesn't scare me like Lindsey Graham or Donald Trump or Santorum or
Huckabee
or Hillary Clinton for that matter, or Bernie Sanders. Those people scare me. Those people legitimately scare me. Chris Christie, Mr. Camel Toe, legitimately scares me.
Moose Knuckle.
I'm sorry, Moose Knuckle. Those guys scare me. Jeb Bush, doesn't scare me. He doesn't put the fear into me like the other guys do.
Well, we know what we're getting with Jeb Bush. We're going to get more of the same.
He's going to be moderate. I mean, that's the way it is. He's going to be a moderate Republican. But, and I keep seeing, like, the presidential candidates in the GOP, and there's 15. So I looked it up because I'm like, no, I think there's way more than that. There are 23 declared candidates for the Republican primary. And there's 4 more, Chris Christie, Scott Walker, a couple others, that are in exploratory committees, actual filed exploratory committees. So you have at least probably 4 more that's going to enter that race. So you're going to be at a field of 27.
Which has more, the Republican presidential candidates or the Duggar family?
That's a good point, by the way. That's a very good point, by the way. And it looks like the GOP's winning for now.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Good on you. Well, the other sad part about that is that you mentioned all those Republican candidates. There's most of them, some of them, a percentage of them, at least a third of them, no one will ever see on TV.
No, there's people that nobody's ever heard of. That's why you keep hearing, there's 15, there's 16. No, there's not. There's 27. And that's the thing, is because there's so many that, even though they will be on the primary ballot in every single state, they're just not. And some of them, they're ex-politicians. These aren't like nobodies.
And I think you'll hear about it based on where they're from. We're hearing a lot about Jeb because, he was governor of Florida.
Everyone in the country is hearing a lot about Jeb.
Well, and of course, because he is the dominant player,
right.
But you go to Indiana and you hear a lot of talk about Mike Pence running for president, because that's where he's from. You go to Arkansas, you hear a lot of people talking about Huckabee because that's where he's from.
Yeah.
So it's localized to some degree.
Well, but Jeb's not. Here's the thing. You're right about localization. However, everybody around the country is hearing about Jeb. But the people in Indiana are hearing about Jeb and Mike Pence.
Right.
The people in Arkansas are hearing about
Huckabee and Jeb. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in
The
Jersey,
common denominator
it's
is
Christie
Jeb.
and Jeb.
Which shows the point we've been making. I mean, we've been talking about it for 2 years that Jeb and Hillary are going to be this. That's the 2016 ticket. I mean,
and here's the thing: if you disagree with me, then it should be very easy for you at this point to call me 1-800-525-4032 and go ahead and lay that money down. I'm gonna give you 2-to-1 odds. I'll give you the rest of the field. Go ahead and bet me. Just go ahead, bet me now. Go with it.
I won't take that bet. I know I've been saying for at least 2 years
Look,
that it's going to be Bush versus Clinton.
I know that you won't, but I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm putting it out there right now. Go ahead. I'll give you 2-to-1 on your money, man. I dare you.
And any of the people out there who think that Rand actually has a chance, give us a call and explain to us exactly how he's going to beat the Bush machine.
When you have to have Florida to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, by the way. And that's the part that I think that everybody, look, that's where Ron Paul and them went wrong in 2008 or 2012. That's where everybody goes wrong because they want to overlook Florida. And that's the one state you can't overlook. And it's the one state that you actually could win. Mm-hmm. That's the part that really pisses me off. Look, even if you take Jeb Bush and you take
Rubio.
You take Jeb Bush and Rubio, you could still carve out enough of the electorate to do well. Look, Newt did well, and it was against Romney. He did very, very well. The votes are here. You just need to go out and get them, though. They ain't just going to give them to you. But if you have enough people down here that like some of those guys, that you could do something. Especially Rand. There's enough people that like Rand that you could do this. But you're not gonna.
No.
Because you're gonna just give up. And you know what? Because you're not serious enough for me to be running for president. You're just not serious enough.
If you're not looking to Florida, you're not a serious candidate.
Yeah, you got to win Florida. But again, Jeb Bush just totally going that way. Totally going to win. Sorry to hear it, but I'm really willing to try to make some money to try to have some kind of a silver lining for
Is
this.
that another Freudian slip?
No. I want to make some money on it. Here's the thing: if Jeb Bush is going to win, and we all know Jeb Bush is going to win, why not try to make a little money on it?
Capitalize.
Exactly.
Why not try to capitalize on that? I'll make a bet. All right, fine.
It's like the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight all over again. It's like, yeah, I really want Pacquiao to win, but I know he's not going to. My money's going to Mayweather.
The smart money on that one with the Mayweather, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I don't like it. I hate
Root for
Mayweather.
Pacquiao. Put your money on Mayweather.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't mind losing. There you go. All right, hour number 1 is in the bag. Hour number 2 is coming up. 1787network.com. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Join with libertarians from across the Sunshine State as we gather for the 2015 Libertarian Party of Florida State Convention, scheduled for June 5th through the 7th. The LPF State Convention will take place at the Quality Inn & Suites Conference Center in historic Newport Richey, Florida. Gary Johnson is the keynote speaker for the convention. Other speakers in attendance include Ben Swan, Adam Kokesh, Tony Stiles, and more. For more information, visit the website at lpf2015.com. Once again, the website address is lpf2015.com.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit TackleMyTicket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at TackleMyTicket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back, Liberty Underground, 1787 Radio Network. If you'd like to call the program, 1-800-525-4032, 1-800-525-4032. So all the stuff that we talked about already up to this point has really been a distraction for what we really should be really talking about
this week,
which is the Trans-Pacific Partnership and what happened in the House to know that we are closer to... Look, this is really, really, really weird, by the way. Look, the thing about remember when Obamacare was going on, that the Republicans, Nancy Pelosi came out and says basically, you got to, we have to pass it so you can see what's in it. And the Republicans were all kinds of pissed off about that.
Now the shoe's on the other foot.
Shoes on the other foot. With the same guy, by the way. With the same guy. Obama's still president. They're still doing it. The problem that I have is, what do you call it? Just the level of hypocrisy is amazing. Like, the level of hypocrisy is the most amazing thing when it comes to this. And to be giving the president this kind of power just doesn't make any sense. You don't even know what's in it. They won't show the American people what's in it. It's in one room where you can go read it. And it seems like anybody that's actually gone in there and read it doesn't like it.
Is against it.
Is against it. But these other people are just voting for it. Like, well, it's gonna create jobs. Let me ask you a question. Seriously. Like, because Paul Ryan's coming out, it's gonna be good for the economy and all this other stuff. If that's the case, then why do they have to pass an amendment with it that would give money to help the displaced workers that are going to lose their jobs?
That would be the opposite of being good for the economy.
The exact opposite of being good for the economy. Exactly.
Like, when you have to pre-plan, this is going to be really good to grow the economy, but we're going to need some money for all the people that are going to lose their jobs. Like, at that point, when you're like, we're going to have to put some money in here for all the people that lose their jobs, like, it became not good anymore. Like, once you have to say, oh, man, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, so I'm going to have to give them money, that became not a good deal.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and this is one thing that came out. The only U.S. government projection of the Trans-Pacific Partnership's outcome concluded that it would result in zero economic growth.
And it would take away a lot of jobs.
Hold on a second here. So it has zero economic growth. You're planning to have money set aside because it's going to take jobs away from Americans. And that's a good thing? And that's going to create economic prosperity? Like, what's Paul Ryan thinking?
Well, these people won't have jobs, so they'll spend more time at home watching television, being indoctrinated and force-fed their BS. So that way, the stupidity of the American voter is augmented, and things turn out better for them in the next election cycle.
And I'm not anti-trade, by the way. Like, I'm a pro-trade guy. I'm a free trade guy. This thing ain't going to do that. Not to mention, this thing has nothing to do with trade whatsoever. What it has to do in reality is to give a lot more power to private, multinational corporations.
This is about currency manipulation.
And currency manipulation is part of it. Like, that's what this thing has to do with. It's why they won't let you see it.
Well, and remember we sat in on that meeting that was supposed to be like, how can we all work together? And we ended up like, hey, let's all get behind the TPP.
Yeah.
And and we can see how they're going to try to sell it to the people, to be like, oh, yay, we need this. Is that they're saying that, all these other countries are manipulating their currency. So we need this to even the playing field.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anyone understands what we do with our currency, but we vastly manipulate the currency in the same fashion that like Zimbabwe does. And at this point, they $1 US dollar would be like 35 trillion Zimbabwe dollars, and we are on the same line as that.
and here's the thing: the people that are actually against this the most are like the unions and things like this. And I'm not always on the sides of the unions on this stuff, but on this one, they're dead right. They're dead right, and all the Democrats are a lot of Democrats are against it. But then there's enough Democrats, they had to get enough Democrats over to support it in order to get it passed out of the House. Hopefully they can't do that in the Senate. And here's the thing, even if they get all this done, what they have done is approved what they call fast track. And if I'm not mistaken, what fast track means is that the president goes there and negotiates something and then sends it to Congress. Congress cannot make any amendment to it whatsoever, that they simply have to vote it up or vote it down.
It's a pass or fail, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pass or fail. Well, here's the thing. I hope it fails. I think that when that time comes where that vote's going to be there, that we need to make sure that our representatives vote no on it, because it's not a good deal for us. It's not a good deal for America. It's not a good deal for the world. Look, this is how they're going to be doing the one world government, for lack of a better term. And I know people are going to be like, well, that's a big wild conspiracy theory. No, it's not. What they're doing is they're setting up a structure in which if you're going to have a problem, that it's going to go to these structures that are above Congress, that are above the presidency. It's going to be multinational corporations that are going to run it. That's who's going to do this. Whether you want it, whether you think that's a good idea or a bad idea, admit to at least what's going to happen, because that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Right.
The Trans-Pacific Partnership is crap, and anybody that votes for this, honestly, you just don't like American sovereignty.
Well, and we saw who voted for it in the House. And I will say that someone who has been voting very well lately in Florida is Richard Nugent.
Yeah, the Nuge has been voting. I got to give him credit. Vote Schenkenberg, but I got to give him credit.
Yeah, I mean, I give him a lot of credit. He voted against it. But one of the people in Florida who ran and was like, oh, I'm, basically a libertarian, you should all vote for me, was Ted Yoho, who thought this was a good idea.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where the first time that it came up for the TAA, Yoho voted against it and spoke out about how bad it was, but then just voted for this one. Right. So what he's saying and and then how he votes the second time is a whole different animal.
Well, once everybody was distracted with other things, then it was like, oh, okay, well, I'll really vote for it.
Yeah. So it really kind of sucks in that aspect. And again, and my representative, Bilaracis voted for it.
Well, he always does. I mean, he's got like the worst record.
It's horrible, man. It really does suck.
Authoritarian psychopath.
David Jolly was not there.
He was not present.
Was not present to vote for it. So I don't know if Jolly would have voted for it or not. I think he wasn't there on purpose, so he could get away with not voting.
Well, he's not quite sure whether or not we need to bomb those people, so he just is abstaining, I think.
You think it's more of not that we want to trade with them. It's like, hey, we may want to bomb them. And I don't know if we should open up trade to people that I may bomb in the future. So let's just hold off on this.
Exactly. I don't want our ships in port when we blow it up, So maybe I'm just going to abstain from this vote.
This one's a hard one for me. I'm just, you guys decide.
Well, and it goes to show you that I don't care. I really don't care. Paul Ryan is a despicable human being.
I think if Paul Ryan tells you it's going to be good for the economy, run.
Yeah, run fast. Vote the opposite of whatever Paul Ryan runs for.
Like
whatever Paul Ryan
the
supported.
Paul Ryan budget was such a joke. Oh, we're going to balance the budget in like 87 years.
But this guy's treated like he's the smartest guy in the room. And that's the part that kills me. Oh, yeah, Paul Ryan's great. He's not great. He sucks. He's horrible. Look at this. He's willing to cede power to Obama. Again, if you Republicans were so damn scared of Obama, then why would you give him this authority? Like, I don't understand that. It goes to show you that it's all the work up there. That you Republicans, the Republicans up in Washington, D.C., actually like Obama. You know what I'm saying? You like him enough to give him this power. That's what you do. You like him enough to give him this power, whether you want to admit it or not. All the rest of the stuff that you say is nothing but theater. It's all political theater.
You'll cede your own authority to him.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's trying to grab power at the executive, so let's vote to give him more.
Like, here, you have all these Republicans that, with righteous indignation are, Obama's, trying to bring socialism to the country and he's trying to destroy our nation and destroy what we believe in and destroy. This is what he's doing. And then it's like, hey, you want to just do everything for us? And we'll just kind of look in later on. But yeah, here, take all of our authority, you person that wants to destroy us. Seriously.
Yeah. No. It's pathetic. It really is pathetic. It's why you people have such the lowest rating ever is how pathetic you people up there are. The Democrats are against this one and somehow you're for it. This thing passed 218 to 208. And 28 Democrats actually voted for it. The rest of the Democrats voted against it. Republicans got this one through. So you can't blame Obama for this. Look, you can blame Obama, but you can't blame Obama without blaming the Republicans up in the House and the Republicans in the Senate.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're confused as to which Democrat they're against at this point. Because it seems that Obama is breaking from the rest of the Democrat ranks on this one. So they're like, well, we know we're supposed to hate the Democrats and be against the Democrats, but they're split on this one. Do we go with Obama or against Obama or with the Democrats in the House?
With him. I don't know what to do.
I'm so confused.
It's another reason they had to wait past the second term in order to try to pull some crap like this, by the way.
Yeah.
Because if Obama would have done this in the first term and it passes and it goes through, Obama doesn't win a second term because so many Democrats will stay home and not vote. It's the same thing that happened to Romney. Mm-hmm. That if they were to try to pull this crap, by the way, CRAP, all uppercase, crap.
I wonder if this is the actual event that he was talking to with Putin when he said, we'll have to wait until my next term.
Maybe it is.
Well,
do you remember what I'm talking about?
But Russia's not part of this now.
No, but still, is there anything else that fits that bill?
I don't know.
You remember what I'm talking about, right?
I do know what you're talking about.
So what is it that he was talking about with Putin? This could be
because it's definitely, listen, I know that Russia's not a part of it, but it's definitely going to affect them. It's 90% of the world is involved in this between all three of these pacts and stuff. So, listen, it's just... I just don't even understand. I think that we need to start being able to have honest discussions, and these honest discussions can't be, well, when the Republicans are in charge, then everything is going to be great, because it's not. Let's start having honest discussions about what's going on, because while they're on the campaign trail with all their righteous indignation and rhetoric about how Obama is destroying the country, they get in office and they give him they give him more power that they're supposed to have themselves. So they're just lying, and we need to start being honest about it. Both sides are lying, and both sides are doing the exact same thing. and they're blaming each other for it. So, until we can start having an honest conversation with people, I don't want to hear about how your Republican saviors are just going to fix everything.
Well, yeah, because they ain't fixing a damn thing. I mean, they ain't fixing a damn thing. Exactly. It's unbelievable how bad it actually is with these people. And it goes to show you, here's the thing. Here's what these politicians don't think that it's affecting them. And they still, up to this point, have been able to get elected. But, and this brings me to another subject here. Americans, there was an article that came out. It's called Americans Have Lost Confidence in Everything.
Yeah, and it's true.
Yeah, and here's why, though. Look, they just did a Gallup poll, and basically the way that they break down that, okay, so America's confidence in all the major institutions are below the historical averages for year one. So the military, 72% expressed confidence in, is up from 68%. 67% for small businesses, up from 63%. Congress, 8%, down by 16 points from the long-term average of 24. And that's the lowest it's ever been rated. I mean, that's amazing, by the way. 33% have confidence in the presidency. It's a drop from 43%. 32% have confidence in the Supreme Court, down from 44%. All in all, the nation is just down on everything. 28% have confidence in the banks, down from 40%. 21% have confidence in big business, down from 24%. 24% have confidence in organized labor, down from 26%. 24% have confidence in newspapers, down from 32%. 21% have confidence in television news, down from 30%. The police have dropped. 52% they're confident in the police compared to 57%. That's still kind of high, all things considered there. 42% have confidence in organized labor or organized religion, down from 55%. I think that the bottom line for this thing right here is the country is going very quickly to being libertarian.
Yeah. This just says good things for libertarians to me. That's all I'm hearing. Good for libertarians. Good for libertarians. Good for libertarians.
Listen, and people often ask us why we get so angry. Like, we're almost angry with Republicans that call themselves libertarians. I mean, we get downright. I mean, it's anger.
There's no bigger insult you can levy against a libertarian than to call them a Republican.
Well, yeah,
or a Democrat,
and that's the thing is, like, we get mad at these people that will say, well, I'm a libertarian, I just run through the Republican Party. That's what Ted Yoho said.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's what Ted Yoho said. Well, I'm really a libertarian. I just think that, the Republican Party is the way to go. You know what? Screw you, Ted Yoho. You want to know why we don't trust anyone that says I'm a libertarian that runs in the Republican Party? Look at Ted Yoho. Because once they get up there, they go right back into I'm just going to be a good little Republican and vote for the TPP and all that. This is ridiculous. This is why we don't trust them. You're either a libertarian or you're fake. That's it.
Another thing too, I really do hope that that JBS does not invite him to their next dinner. By the way,
I think
because
that there would be
don't root it.
There would be some people from Gainesville that are involved in JBS that would revolt.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's going to happen.
We know of a few people that actually believe Ted Yoho, worked for him, helped him get elected, and then saw what he did and are very adamant about we need to get rid of him.
And they're anybody but him. But it's hard up in that area too, though, because Ted's going to keep that seat for as long as he wants it. I think it's going to be very difficult to get rid of him. I mean, I'd like to see him gone, but at this point, it's going to be very, very hard to get rid of him. But again, this article, which I really, really do like, though. Americans have lost confidence in everything. Good. That's what we need.
Making
better for
new
libertarians
every day.
Yeah. Every red light camera ticket, every vote for TPP, you're only helping the cause, man. So stay evil.
Every time they clinch up and tighten the noose, it just makes more libertarians, which is good for us.
Yep. The Republicans and the Democrats are the best recruitment arm of the Libertarian Party.
I think I said that at one point. Like, there was a point where John Boehner won again as the Speaker of the House, and I'm like, I just like to thank the Republicans and John Boehner. You are the #1 recruiter for the LP this month. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Now let's pick on our own state here. as well.
Do you want to go to what happened in Tallahassee with the budget before you go to that story?
There's so much to pick on our state about. There's a question as to what we're going to do.
Sure, go ahead.
So the Florida legislature that is in special session right now because the House decided to stop kicking. They grabbed their ball and went home. They had to come back because they hadn't done a budget. And
yeah, because the one thing they have to do up there by law is to make a budget.
It's the only thing they have to do.
Yeah, it's the only thing they have to do, and it's the only thing they didn't do.
They didn't do. So they came back up to do a budget, and they did come to a late night compromise. Now, I guess it's good news and bad news all rolled into one. The budget is $78 billion. But that is only a $1 billion increase from last year. So there's some good news. We only increased the budget by $1 billion, which in the last few years, we've increased it by like $4 and $5 billion every year. So they've slowed down their spending like drunken sailor attitudes toward things. It's slightly slowed down, but we do have a $1 billion increase in the budget. And I mean, listen, they spent like, in that late night negotiation, they spent like $300 million. I mean, just like, hey, what other stuff can we pack in here? I mean, it was just obscene.
Yeah, $300 million in special projects, just minutes. Like, it just happened a little bit before the final $78.6 billion spending package was delivered. And it was all pork. All of it was pork, and they put it all in at the last minute. And it really is just despicable that this is what they do in Tallahassee. However, look, the reason they put $300 million into this, though, is probably because they got about $5 million in campaign contributions collectively. I don't know the exact number, but they probably got about $5 million in campaign contributions in order to add that $300 million. Scumbags, the lot of them, all of them. What are you guys doing? And again, Rick Scott actually said he wanted to have like so much money in tax cuts, and you didn't get nearly as many tax cuts because they had to keep the budget. They had to keep more of your money in order to pay off the other people to get their, for their pork projects. So, just so you understand, Republicans in Tallahassee, tax cuts or money for the cronies. Your tax cuts get axed, more money for the cronies. Not to mention that they axe other programs too. So they'll get rid of like things that we're doing like for Alzheimer's patients or things that we're doing for people that are mentally handicapped.
Yeah, those were the hard cuts they had to make.
So we can keep the cronyism.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not necessarily in favor of, I wasn't in favor of Medicaid expansion. I wasn't in favor of some of these programs that other people would be in favor of. But I'm definitely against the cronyism, and they've chalked this thing full of cronyism.
Yeah. No, they did $300 million in spending in like the last 5 minutes. So, how quickly can you spend $300 million? About 6 minutes. In Tallahassee.
They'll get better at it.
So, but they filled this full of, sports teams and their big corporations and their buddies getting large amounts of tax money, and they cut, services for mentally ill and handicapped people. So, listen, if we're going to start making and what they call them, we had to make the hard cuts. You know what? I think you're cutting from the wrong places. Those aren't hard cuts. Those are stupid cuts.
Yeah, here's what it is. $20 million in economic incentives and marketing funds for Enterprise Florida. So that's the PPP, the Public-Private Partnership. $5 million for a downtown campus for the University of Central Florida. And Edney Gardner really wanted that. $7 million to boost in funding boost for Florida State University and the University of Florida. $1 million to boost the state's beef industry. Doesn't need it. We're the largest one anyway. $2 million to expand the campus of IMG, a private athletic training institute in Bradenton. Hey, here's the thing. It ain't private no more. $600,000 for water system improvements in a small North Florida town. $61,000 for the Henry B. Plant Museum in Tampa. The hell you need that money for? Here's the thing. This is where the next Speaker of the House is speaking. When asked if a state budget process that includes releasing $300 million in taxpayer-funded projects during a late-night meeting just minutes before agreeing to a budget deal lacks transparency, both Lee and House Budget Chief Richard Corcoran Land O'Lakes defended the process. This has been one of the most remarkable sessions for open, transparent debate and fervent positions on both sides, Corcoran said as his nose was growing because he's lying his ass off. This is the way government should work. And I do agree with him that that's what he thinks. That he thinks that government should work that way. Richard Corcoran absolutely believes that government should work that way, which is why he should never be reelected into office. So this guy, and there was something he said at the end too, which I really would like to. Oh man, I really can't find it. Damn, that really sucks. I found it was something about how he would be proud and stand by it. I really think we ought to nail him to the cross with it. Is what we ought to do. I can't find that quote though.
Well, I mean, listen, but at the end of the day, this is what they do. They fill it full of things and then say, well, you know, we had to rein in the budget, so we had to cut services to mentally ill patients and handicapped people and old people with Alzheimer's that are living on Social Security. Well, you know, we had to rein in the budget. But you know what? Rein in the budget and not give money to a museum or a private sports facility, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there were other things to cut, but they do this all the time. It's just like in the county where they do, you know, well, we have to raise your taxes or else we're going to stop paying firefighters. I mean, this is what they do. But then all of their buddies are getting $1 million land deals that, well, I'll buy your piece of land that I can't use for $1 million. That's what government does.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put the services. I mean, even libertarians are not going to come out and say, well, the first thing we need to take away is the help for the mentally handicapped and the help for Alzheimer's patients and help for the disabled. You know, but they're these other politicians are gonna put those on the line and say, well, you know, we're gonna cut these if you don't give us more money. When there's plenty of things that you can cut. Cut the money going to your friends. Cut the money going all to the corporations, and cut out some of these stupid programs. You're paying millions of dollars for people to go out and measure alligator penises. This is ridiculous. That's true.
No,
I mean, it's absurd.
It
is absurd. You can't help but laugh, but it's true. They pay people millions of dollars to measure alligator penises, but they want to let Alzheimer's patients wander the streets, not knowing who they are or where they are, you know, because we don't have the money. It's ridiculous.
But Greg, they're going to put $10 million into the Silver Alert system, so when those Alzheimer's patients are wandering the streets, we'll know about it.
Yeah.
Because they're an open and transparent government.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. These people are again. You're never going to fix this problem until you start electing libertarians. I'm sorry. I don't give a crap. Go ahead and try to argue that one. Well, we just got to give these Republicans a little more time. You know, here's the thing.
They've had 20 years.
Yeah, they completely own the state house, the state senate, and the governor's office, and all the cabinet positions. Democrats have zero power in Tallahassee. None, nada, not even a little bit. It's all Republicans. So, and again, you can tout these job numbers all you want, but the job numbers aren't even real job numbers, for Pete's sake.
They count promised jobs.
Yeah, they totally do.
And they admit it. Like, if you actually break it down, they actually admit this, that they count. Once a company says, yes, we're going to move down there and create 1,000 jobs, they count that as here. Well, we've created 1,000 jobs today. No, you didn't. You didn't create anything. You know what I mean? Like, we can do like the Austin Powers, like the next company, I'm going to create 1 billion jobs. Look at that. The governor created 1 billion jobs. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah. And the government doesn't create jobs at all. I'm so sick of these people saying this crap. I don't know why Republicans think, why do the Republican voters think that these guys can create jobs? And because they'll argue that does government create jobs? No. Yeah, but Rick Scott created jobs. Make up your friggin' mind. Either be a Democrat and say, yeah, government creates jobs, or admit that government doesn't create jobs. They create the conditions for jobs to be able to, you know, they can either screw it up, which they do a very good job of, or they can be good and stay out of the damn way. They're not staying out of the damn way. Rick Scott was in Paris trying to negotiate a trade deal. Shut up, you dumbass, you bald-looking, Skeletor-looking MFer. Get the freak back here. You know, quit spending my money by going to France, you jerk off.
And that's the thing, is that
non-question answering mother.
all these jobs that it's like reportedly have been added are promised jobs. 98% of them haven't even showed up. And several, in fact, a large portion of the companies that have promised these jobs have gone out of business or have encountered so much red tape in the area to actually build and expand and create that they don't know, at least for another 10 years, if they're going to be able to get through the government bureaucracy to even create these jobs. So you're looking at jobs that are being counted today that some will never be created, and others may not be in existence for another decade.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Because of government.
Yeah, here's the thing. And I know that there's people that might be listening to the show right now that are going like, she's lying. She ain't lying.
She ain't lying.
She ain't lying. She ain't even lying a little bit, man. Go look it up for yourself. Go educate yourself. Go educate yourself. Now,
Like, I wish I was lying.
yeah.
You gonna learn today.
Yeah, you going to learn today, boy. You going to be learned. You going to be learned. I'll tell you right now, America. All right, let's get into some positive news and some crazy news. Let's take a break first. Yeah, you're right. We should take a break first. Let's take a break first. Then we'll get into some positive news, then some crazy news. You know, we got weed and we got selfies
With dogs.
with bestiality. It's a beautiful thing. It's America. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Join with libertarians from across the Sunshine State as we gather for the 2015 Libertarian Party of Florida State Convention, scheduled for June 5th through the 7th. The LPF State Convention will take place at the Quality Inn and Suites Conference Center in historic Newport Richey, Florida. Gary Johnson is the keynote speaker for the convention. Other speakers in attendance include Ben Swan, Adam Kokesh, Tony Stiles, and more. For more information, visit the website at lpf2015.com. Once again, the website address is lpf2015.com.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back, Liberty Underground, 1787 Radio Network. Let me clarify one of the statements that I had made a second ago. I'm not saying that bestiality in itself is beautiful. I just think that a story this amazing that shows that, you know, we really deserve the tyranny that's coming our way. I'm saying beautiful in a negative sense, not a positive sense. So let me just go with that. But let's start with Miami first. So Miami is now the largest county population-wise that proposes citations for marijuana possession as an alternative to arrest. This is really...
That's a big deal.
It's a good look. At the end of the day, I want full legalization, but I'll take it where I can get it. Though, look, if you don't get arrested, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So people caught with a small amount of marijuana could soon just get a civil citation instead of a jail term in Florida's largest county. So Miami-Dade Commission is considering a proposal to let police issue $100 civil citations for possessing up to 20 grams of marijuana. It's actually a pretty decent amount.
Yeah.
20 grams.
That's, the fine is less than what you'll pay for it.
Yeah. So I think Sally Heyman, who's one of the county commissioners there, said that her measure seeks to spare people a criminal record, and they would reduce the economic burden on the criminal justice system, which is what we've been arguing for a long time, which is why you should just make it legal.
Hello, libertarians.
Yeah, and there's similar laws like this that have been enacted in other states, so it's not like it's a new thing. However, it's new to Florida, though, especially with as much of a bunch of authoritarian psychopaths as too many of the county commissioners and state legislatures are, and the governor, Skeletor. But this is good. I'm glad to see this. Hopefully other counties in the state will do this. I know Pasco will never touch this because we have totally an authoritarian psychopath as our sheriff here.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a new sheriff that would be willing to do this, but I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Alex for sheriff.
Yeah, oof. I don't think people would like me as sheriff. Well, I actually do think people would like me as sheriff because I would do things like this. Now, in another one of these only can happen in Florida stories, a Florida woman took selfies during sex with a dog inside her grandma's house. So hang on a second here. This girl, her name's Ashley Miller, she was charged with engaging in sexual activities with an animal. This girl would... I'm not even going to describe what she was doing. However, basically, she was having sex with a dog. With a pit bull. Which I would be a little scared of having sex with a pit bull, by the way. I got to tell you, that's very intimidating to me.
Yeah, I mean, she picked, like, the worst breed.
Yeah. So she would go to her grandma's house, close the door, go into one of the rooms, close the door, and do this. And take selfies. Like, that's a good thing. Why do you need to take a selfie of this?
like you got to prove to your friends that you're actually
here.
Doing
Look at what Fido did. Like, oh my gosh, this is so just. This is a mental problem, by the way. There is something wrong with you as a human being if you think this is a good thing to do. Really, this takes sheep sex to a whole new level. This is. I mean, come on, girl. Ashley Miller. Like, I gotta tell you, I don't think she'll ever get a dude ever now. There's no dude that will go, well, a pit bull, why not? It's a good time.
I'm refraining from comment because
I can understand
what
why.
popped in my head is only going to be bad.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand why you want to keep.
I mean, I could actually end up getting the FCC regulating the things that we do on the internet if I say this.
No, you're right. But at the same time, what the hell are people thinking? What the hell are people thinking? I mean, really, woman, come on. What? I read that story and I'm like, man, that's from Florida. Like, you just know that's a Florida story. Why do we have so many people in this state that act like this? Why do you act like a fool?
Well, because it's the land of second chances.
Is it the heat that does something to your brain? Well, maybe that's what it is.
Well, it's the land of second chances, and I call it that all the time. And the reason why
shouldn't be the land of dog licks.
Well, when you have completely destroyed your life to the point where you cannot live where you are anymore, you move to Florida.
I guess. I mean, ugh. All right, let's get on to something else. I don't even want to stay on this one very long.
You can't even stick to this topic. Huh?
Have you ever watched a politician on TV and he always has these huge crowds around him?
Oh, yeah.
And that sometimes they don't have huge crowds, but sometimes they do. And you always wonder, like, how in the heck did they get those huge crowds around them?
Yeah, especially at, like, these surprise events where nobody knew they were going to be there.
Yeah, and I really do think that libertarians should start doing this, by the way. So I'm not saying this is I'm mad at them for doing it, but at the same time, you know what, man? I'm telling you, we might have an idea here. I might have an idea here, just paying people just to show up to events. There's this thing, and it's a thing, called Rent a Crowd. It's a Rent a Crowd company. And somebody, and it was on, I got this from libertychat.com, and someone has, Crowds on Demand is an American publicity firm. It claims to be the only rent-a-crowd service, providing its clients with the ability to hire actors to pose as fans. So somebody decided to contact them, pretending to be an employee of a GOP candidate running for office. Their founder, CEO Adam Swart, responded, and they had an exchange. So this is how the guy that runs the company explains his company. We have worked with dozens of candidates in the U.S., primarily, but not exclusively, Republican. Mostly, they are candidates who suffer from a lack of enthusiasm, turnout at rallies, and in need of a game change. The candidates have been primarily congressional/Senate candidates. We've only worked with one serious presidential candidate thus far. I have found our approach has led to an increased poll numbers, and in many cases, made the margin of victory for a few reasons. So here's the reasons that he gives. Photo ops at rallies, having a diverse group of people, race, gender, age, around the candidate is critical, especially for those who are constantly followed by reporters, but even for those who only get a couple of pieces per day. Enthusiastic crowds bring more media attention and shift the narrative onto grassroots supporters. Press always want to understand why people support candidate X or candidate Y, giving them great footage of enthusiastic supporters speaking about their love for the candidate provides great quotations. C. It gives a sense of legitimacy for candidates among their existing supporters. When they see lots of enthusiastic folks at rallies, they like to feel like they're backing the right horse. And then the last one, bolsters the candidate's self-confidence. Some candidates knew about the paid crowds, and other times we have been hired by outside organizations. In both cases, seeing more supporters gave them the confidence to up their game on stage. That's the CEO of the company that's the Rent-A-Crowd company. Admitting that, yep, there's senators, there's congresspeople, and even one presidential candidate that have actually taken advantage of this service. Unbelievable, by the way.
I can't believe there's only one company doing it. They have a monopoly. We need to open up a competing company.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing that I've said after watching like Wiley's election. If I were to run for office again, I would literally put on the payroll four people. One person, their only job would be to go to my events holding a television camera. I have to buy a television camera, and I would go to every event that I ever went to, and one dude that only holds the television camera. I would hire another guy. His only job would be to interview people with that television camera and to interview me, the candidate, with that television camera from a nondescript, television place. The third person would be the fake reporter that all they would do is ask me questions and report on what I'm doing for the campaign. And I'd hire two of those guys or girls, and one would be reporting on me, and the other would be walking the crowd, or the other both would be reporting on me, or both be walking in the crowd. Some combination thereof. But 4 people I would hire, and I would have them go around me all the time. You know why? I know you probably know the answer.
I know why.
Because if you have a television camera in front of you and you go to an event, people just swarm around you. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. They just, he's on TV, he must be important.
Yep.
That's what it is. Oh, he's on TV, he must be important. And then they would just follow you around. This is the same thing with the Rent-A-Crowd. So I would rent a crowd for every event I would go to, because I don't think you get in trouble for this. I don't think it goes against you. So no. I think libertarians should rent crowds and rent camera people and rent reporters and just have them follow you all the time. Why not? It seems to work for Republicans.
Yeah.
Seems to work for Democrats. Yeah. I mean, it's all a show. It's all a freaking show. Why not give them a show then? Why shouldn't we just give people a show then? If that's what you want, if that's what's going to get you to vote for people, then let's just give you a show. If you're that stupid, if you're that ignorant, that will help, might as well do it. I don't believe that it goes against the NAP. I don't believe it violates any of our principles.
No.
Why not do it? I mean, I think that spirit of the law, letter of the law, that the spirit of it, I mean, I'm not going to do this because, well, let me say this. The cameraman thing, I would totally do that, even though I could say that person is actually there just to document stuff. You know what I mean? Like I would like to have that only because I'd like the footage and I'd like the interviews because I'd like stories to be written and I'd like to make it easier to do that. So I would have to hire somebody to literally just do that stuff, but then put it out as the campaign though.
Right.
But it wouldn't matter because people wouldn't even pay. People wouldn't even ask.
Yeah.
They just assume the camera. Especially if you get a nice camera. Like you got to get a good camera in order to make this work. Like you got to spend some
Right.
serious jack on a camera.
Can't be doing it with a little Sony Handycam.
No. You got to have the tripod. You got to have the big mama jammer that you put on your shoulder. You got to do the whole 9 yards, man. You got to get serious with it. You got to get real. You got to get real with it.
You got to get real with the fake.
You got to get real with the fake. Exactly. You got to get real with the fake. So that's what they're doing, by the way. They're going ahead and they're just making rent-a-crowds, man. Just making rent-a-crowds. You jerks. I'd love to know the president campaign that did it. They're trying to make the claim that it was Bush's campaign, and it might have been. I don't know, but man, it just what? You know, I mean,
It's one of those things that I can totally see the usefulness of it, and I can totally understand the need to have this service. Because like I said, they do a lot of appearances in a lot of places, and a lot of them don't have an early announcement. People just don't know that they're going to be there until last minute. So you can't create this crowd naturally. It's just not going to form naturally. So you kind of need to artificially create this crowd just to seem legitimate. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago about how people are losing faith in so many things about this country, and this is the need to rent the crowd shows how little faith we have in the politicians and how little excitement we have in their campaigns.
Yeah. Well, the other problem here is that these politicians deserve it. They're a bunch of glorified. Here's the thing. I want to say that they're used car salesmen, but I wouldn't want to insult used car salesmen. They're worse than that. They're so many of them, and I'm talking in the 80 percentile range, are just friggin' liars. And they lie to these people, and they know they're lying, and they don't care. They're just like, well, I got to say what I got to say in order to get elected. You know? And you don't even get high in the ranks unless they got something on you. It's like that Hastert thing, like the Denny Hastert thing, where it came out that he was molesting boys when he was, when he was a school coach or something like that. That's how he got elected. Somebody knew that stuff. They knew they could control him, so they put him forward. They made sure that they could control him, so he will always vote the way that they want him to vote. That's what they do. Everybody feigns outrage on it, but they all knew it. And again, places like InfoWars put this stuff out years ago about him. Nobody believed it. And now, when it all comes out that it's totally true, nobody gives credit where credit was due.
Yeah.
There's places that were reporting on this. You just chose to ignore it. You chose to call those people crazy. Again, let me ask you a question. What's crazy? Is crazy saying that somebody did something where it comes out later on that they actually did it? Or is it renting a crowd for your political campaign? What's crazy? What's lying to the public? Because in my opinion, in many ways, you're lying to the public. But I think that the public is quite okay with being lied to. Because I don't think it's going to hurt any of the candidates that they're doing it to. And some of people know it. Like if you go to a rally where you actually like the guy and you look around and nobody's really saying that they like the guy necessarily, but they're out there for the crowd and they're cheering, but it's like golf clap cheering. You know what's going on. Mm-hmm. You know exactly what's going on. Yeah, and paid people to go to these events is not probably something new. It's probably been happening for a long time. Since politics was going on, it probably has been happening.
We should start looking at events like in the same cities and seeing if we can find the same people in the crowds for opposing candidates.
Yeah, I wish that we had access to the kind of technology that you would need in order to do that easily. Because if you used facial recognition scanning, you could actually start doing that to see if you could find, the same people in different crowds. That would actually be a good idea. I mean, I have no idea how to do that.
Right.
But that would be
like, look, you've got this guy that's in the crowd for Jeb, and the same guy's in the crowd for Hillary in the same city. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like finding Milli Vanilli for the first time, Where's
Waldo?
Yeah. It really would be. It'd be like Look, everybody loved Milli Vanilli, and then they found out they were faking the songs. Well, not everybody loved Milli Vanilli, but there was they were popular, and then they found out they were faking the songs. And now everybody's faking the songs, though.
Well, the difference is it wasn't even them singing on the album. That's the real difference.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
I mean, because I do not have a problem, especially like Madonna and Britney Spears and stuff. They're out there, they're putting on a show where they're doing a lot of dancing. And I mean, it's a workout what they're doing on stage. And to be able to maintain your breath, to be able to sing at the same time. So I can understand why they'll make the choice to lip sync it live. But at least they recorded the album. The difference was Milli Vanilli was not only lip syncing live, they weren't even the voices on the album. So that's where the real difference comes in.
Yeah. God, everything's fake.
It is. And it's all pro wrestling.
Yeah, and it's why, again, let me go back to the other article we talked about. Americans have lost confidence in everything. And it is on libertarians to get this thing. I mean, it's all laid out for us, man. It really is. It really totally is. I'm not blaming anyone else. I'm not going to blame the media. I'm not going to blame anything other than if we don't start winning elections, it's because we don't want to do what's required to win elections.
Yeah, it really should be like taking candy from a candy.
Yeah. They want to just give it to you, man. You just got to go out there and get it. Like, you literally got to go out there and start getting votes. It's why that we have, coming up. And let me plug something while we're doing this then. So it is why that the Florida Libertarian PAC, which is the political action committee that I am the chairman of now, that we have started the door-to-door canvassing 101. I understand that people are very, fearful and intimidated by going door to door. I understand the fear. Well, I don't understand the fear. I understand that there is fear for this. So on July 11th, starting at 9 a.m., that is going to be located at the Florida Libertarian PAC's main office. We have an office. 9851 State Road 54 in Newport Richey, Florida. 34655 is the zip code in case you're looking for it. We're going to do this, and I'm actually going to do this across the entire state. I'm going to set up events all over the state of Florida, and I will give you all of the confidence you need in order to do this. Because honestly, at this point, the only thing we need is to start knocking on doors and start telling people, hey, you got this candidate to vote for, you got this candidate to vote for. You're going to have the top two in Florida will have libertarians there. More than likely, it'll be, if Gary Johnson does decide to run for president, you'll have Gary Johnson for president. And if, Stone looks like he's going to run, so you're going to have Roger Stone for U.S. Senate. So you're going to have those two candidates. There will be a primary in the Libertarian Party, but and I'm not involved in the Senate race, so it doesn't really matter. But as a prognosticator, not prognosticator, as a pundit, I would say that more than likely Stone's going to be able to get this thing done. In certain areas, you'll have somebody running for Congress. In a lot of areas, it looks like you're going to have people running for State House and State Senate. Those are the most important races. We mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. The Florida Libertarian PAC will be supporting and endorsing at least, we know of one for sure, and that's going to be Dave Levitt. And he's got the best chance to win. He's a professional businessman. He's a good guy. He speaks the message well, and I think he's a very strong candidate to support. So I plan on fully supporting him as much as I can. But at the same time, I am going to be traveling all over the state to try to help people with canvassing. I think that's the one thing that I hear the most people say that they don't know what to do. And I think a lot of it has to do with fear of the unknown. And also, look, libertarians want to leave people alone. So going door to door to bother people, which is what they would consider it, is probably not high on their priority scale. They're like, well, we could do it another way. Well, sorry, you can't. There's only one other way to do it. It's by going door to door for your candidates and securing the votes that way. So if you can make it on July 11th, please go. You can go to FloridaLibertarianPAC.com and click on the events tab, and you can see all the information right there, and you can RSVP. Looks like so far, because I just put the event up, we do have 10 RSVPs, so that's a good thing.
Am I one of them? I think I am.
I think you are. Yes, I think you are. So it's it's a really good thing. I'm glad that we're going to have more people doing it, and I'm going to be spamming the crap out of this. So just for the record.
Yeah, this is actually at the beginning of the show what Danielle and I were talking about our news feed being filled with Alex's events. This is actually what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is exactly what they're talking about. And that's all right.
No, it's a beautiful It's much better than being spammed with the same gripes being thrown into social media by the same people. And you get these same complaints, and they'll sit at their keyboard and say all these things. And then once they click post, they're done. And they're not doing anything about addressing any of this in a meaningful way. And
yeah, I spam you, but I don't bitch spam you, though.
No.
I won't bitch spam you. I'll give you classes and events and all that other kind of crap, but I won't bitch spam you, though.
Yeah.
So it was just nice.
Now, you do that here. That's what the show's for.
Yeah, I bitch spam on the show. So, and it's funny, like, if you go through my news feed, it's like event, you know. Then it goes marijuana, it goes Roger Stone, scheduled to speak for LFN, so events, scheduling events, off the rails, Tim Ward making fun of me, event, lawmakers, My daily, and I'm doing something new now, though. I'm doing a daily Learn Liberty post.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm taking a Learn Liberty video, and I'm putting it up there.
Nice.
So that's nice, too. Trying to help a little bit there. Well, for good reason. All right, that's the show for the day. Website, 1787network.com, 1787network.com. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, we don't care. I'm just saying. Adrian, hopefully he'll be on next week. We should make fun of Adrian if he's not on next week, so we will...
we should make fun of him if he is on.
Yeah. Either way, we're making fun of him. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.